right. So my first question, I like to start my interviews off a little bit of a softball. And Clea, to you, what was your first memory of that urge to get organized?
Oh gosh, I have always been this way. My brain is just wired differently. My mom still jokes about how like when I would play as a child, it was all about setting up like what I was going to do, like setting up the classroom or school or whatever. I would never actually get to the playing part of, being like the teacher. I just wanted to organize everything. Same with dolls, Barbies, all of it. It was just the setting up, the process. I just have always been this way.
Same question to you, Joanna.
Well, as a young kid, I just like to arrange things. I just needed to see certain grids and collections organized in a certain way. And then I took a turn in college and I was a mess.
She became a real slob.
A real mess. But as a young child, I was very organized too.
With season 2 kind of taking a dive into your own homes and personal lives, Clea, to you, were you nervous about sharing that with the audience?
I wasn't. Joanna had a lot of hesitation, but I am very open on Instagram with my house, my kids, my family, my life, the good stuff, the bad stuff. So, I didn't really have any hesitation. Again, Joanna is much more private. So I know she did. So I don't want to take her answer away from her, but I was fine.
Joanna, to you, you get the call from Kevin Hart to help his friend Harry out, who's a sneakerhead, right?
Yes.
Is it intimidating kind of standing toe-to-toe with these people who are nervous and somewhat reserved about parting with their stuff?
Yeah, well, we always want to make sure to come in with like kid gloves to understand what we're dealing with first. And we very much respect a collection and a collector. So someone that is a sneakerhead, it's not just that they were born that way yesterday. I mean, it's not that they just became that way yesterday. They've probably been like that for a very long time. So we're not trying to undo any sort of collection. We just want to make sure that we come in and are able to honor the collection and make them be as organized as they can with that.
Right. Exactly. I mean, what we always tell people is if you're telling us that this is a true collection that you feel passionately about, why are these things shoved in the corner?
Right.
It's like let's celebrate the collection. Let's honor the collection. If things are not stored or displayed appropriately, then how special really are they?
That's right.
What's the hardest collection of things that have you had to deal with that somebody maybe was a little bit more reserved along the way?
Well, I could literally give you like a top 10, but I would say the first thing that just popped into my mind from season 2, a family called the Murphys. She has a nutcracker collection, and nutcrackers the size of Joanna.
Yeah, they're huge, life size.
Yeah. I was like, what are we supposed to do with life-size nutcracker collections? So we had to literally build a shed in the backyard to house them. It was either that or hanging them from the ceiling, like Queen's Gambit style.
We did talk about that.
I literally was like, it's going to be a candelabra of nutcrackers. So, it's much more helpful when people have like a stamp collection.
Yeah. Stamp collections are, for the win.
Yeah.
Or coins. Great. They don't take up that much space.
Fine.
When I saw that, I was like, I didn't even know they made nutcrackers that big, right? I had no clue.
Same. I knew like outside of like FAO Schwartz and like New York City, they existed, but like this was really something. So, every now and then you just have to contend with, we tend to work with a lot of collectors, a lot of people who really do want to hold on to their items. So, we just have to come up with a range of solutions.
Joanna, to you, when you take a step back as we move into season 2 of the show, what's something you learned about yourself throughout this project?
I can answer for you.
Okay. All right. I'll take your answer for me.
Okay. I'm gonna answer for Joanna.
Okay. I'll take it.
Joanna became so much more comfortable being on camera.
Oh,
she found her voice a lot more, I think, in season 2. I think we also realized just how much stamina we actually have, and what we are able to do and pull off is really insane.
Yeah.
And it's something that I think you walk away with a lot of pride for being really good at something. There's something to be said for just really being able to nail something.
Right.
And I think the fact that it's like you surprise yourself every day. You're like, oh, I thought I was going to drop dead from exhaustion. We filmed during the summer.
Yeah.
So
stamina is a really good point.
There were some days in filming in LA and like the Deep Valley where it was like 110 degrees. And, we're doing manual labor, we're doing physical work, and the air conditioning can't keep up. And we're, but it's like at the end, you just want to be like, wow.
Yeah.
Like I did that.
Right.
So Anyway, that's my answer for Joanna.
Thank you. I appreciate the answer.
So one of the things that I get nervous about, and I'm just watching it, I get nervous about is obviously the big reveals, right? Do you guys have the nerves when it's kind of like
every time
we're
Okay,
like,
perfect.
this is the one we're going down on.
I cannot tell you how many times I've said the phrase, this might be our Waterloo. Like, this is it.
Yeah,
Every time people, I remember after season 1 came out, there was some internet chatter about like, they act like there's some ticking clock over their head. I'm like, oh, there is a ticking clock.
Honestly, there always is. Even if we weren't on camera, the client's coming home, or the client has to put their child to bed, or their client has to make dinner.
Kitchen, right?
You know, there's always a real ticking clock.
It's actually one of the first questions we ask when we organize for anyone is, what is our hard out? Like, what time do we need to be done by? And you work backwards. It just so happens when you're filming, there's a whole other layer of
hard out.
Right, of hard out. And it's like, you know, if like Chris Pratt is coming home at 4 p.m. and obviously we need to film the reveal, he has like somewhere to be at like 4:45 p.m. It's like, you just, there's no such thing as not finishing.
And you're contending with light because you're filming. I mean, you're doing 2 jobs at the same time.
Do you feel stressed?
Yeah, always.
No,
always.
I'm like, my heart is like,
you're stressing me out right now, right, guys?
But there are a lot of factors. The work has to be done, and it also has to be reveal worthy, right? So it's not just like, okay, it's done. It's like, no, it has to look good. It's a full project.
And then you want to make sure that you address the client's actual needs because it's an actual project too. So it's not like, you know, somebody's baking a cake and then behind the scene and then they pull out a baked cake. Like, we actually have to bake the cake on camera.
We have to do the work.
Yeah.
It's not something that you can phone in. Like, the work actually just has to be done.
I love that answer just because, like I said, when I'm watching it, I watch every one of them. And it's like in the back of your head, you're like, oh, well, it's going to be great. They're going to love it regardless. But you see your guys' faces, and it just makes me 10 times more nervous for you guys, whether they love it or not. You know what I mean? It's just like, I'm sure that's a big weight lifted off your chest when you hear them talk, right?
Oh, truly. I mean, you really don't know. And people have funny reactions to things. I mean, you have moved their things. And a lot of the people are excited that you're there, but they're also anxious about it, which is why maybe they've gotten into this situation to begin with, where, you know, so you really don't, it's always a surprise to us how they're going to react, you know?
Right. We're like, oh God, I hope you like it.
I know. And I hope you like what we did with your things.
All right. So this is my last question. And I know you guys are Nashville natives like I am. Okay. Yeah. So this is probably the hardest project that I need you guys to fix. Can you please organize traffic in Nashville?
Well, here's the thing. So I was born and raised in Los Angeles. I moved to Nashville. I brought the traffic with me.
Yes,
and I blame myself because everyone in Nashville is like, oh gosh, it's like everyone's moving here and there's so much traffic. And I'm like, I did that. So I can't even be mad about it. But traffic is such a problem. What are we going to do?
I know. What are we going to do?
I don't know, season 3 of Get Organized with Nashville traffic, or just traffic in general, you know what I mean? So, but moving further, I understand that I know to blame you every time I'm in traffic and I'm screaming. So
honestly, I blame myself. I think about it and I'm like, I contributed to this problem.
Right. That's right.
I just want to thank you guys so much for your time today. I really had a pleasure talking to you guys.
Thank you so much. We appreciate your time.
Thank you guys.